these people and I want to help them. But when you're the gang stalker under the influence of this technology and the influence of the peer pressure and everything else, you don't feel that. And if you do, the technology is going to take it right out of your system. But look at the TI, how isolated they are. You're not going to be isolated like that because you're one of us. These are your people. Look around at all the other gang stalkers. Look around at the military and the intelligence services of the United States of America. Look at the local and state police. Look at the social workers. These are our people. You can date any one of these women that you want. You can date any one of these men that you want. Heck, we'll help you hook up. You can come and party with us and go out to dinner and do all the things that people do together. And that TI can't. That TI can't because of X, Y, and Z. That TI can't because he's on the wrong side of this. You're very, very lucky to be on the right side, and don't you ever do anything to mess it up because you will end up right where that TI is. You're not going to be one of us anymore. You're going to be isolated. You're going to be gang stalked. You're going to be tortured 24 hours a day by the most horrific technology ever conceived by the mind of man, and you are going to die, grow old, and die alone. And unfortunately, now that I'm saying that, I have this self-realization moment. I mean, that's exactly what's happening with me. And I can totally and completely understand how that is a very, very effective strategy to get people to go along with being a gang stalker and to help cover up this program. The entire point of this social engineering program that has been researched and developed for decades now, the full intent within the program, everything that's planned going forward, the day-to-day attitude of all the people, is that this program is going to be rolled out nationwide and it will become the norm. Every man, woman, and child in America will be under the influence of this technology. Every man, woman, and child in America will be one decision away from having gang stalkers turned against them. And the people making these decisions, of course, are not answerable to the American people. They were not elected. They did not pass any test or go through any gates of initiations to prove that they're worthy to have this responsibility. They just make the decision, and you're a TI, and that's it. Every single man, woman, and child in the United States of America will be under the influence of this technology. And as you can see, going forward, what's going to happen is a dividing line is going to be drawn in America. And it's not going to be Democrat or Republican or black and white, rich, poor, Jew, Gentile, religious differences, whatever it is. It's going to be based on who is on the right and the wrong side of this technology, who is on the right and the wrong side of this program. And so if you are not a part of this program, then there is a very real risk that you are going to become a full-blown 24/7 targeted individual. And this technology at that point, when it is nationwide, will be used by automated supercomputer software programming that will manipulate the emotions and the behavior and the thoughts of everybody in the United States of America. And it can all be done remotely. It's very much like the microchip kind of tracking the New World Order, this entire, control grid that's supposed to be rolled out against the American people someday. And I'm here to tell you that it's already here. There isn't going to come a day where there's troops in the streets and tanks rolling down your neighborhood and riot gear and all this stuff. We might have isolated incidents like that. It might get like that every once in a while, but the true control grid is this technology, voice-to-skull, hive mind, behavior manipulation technology, and it can all be done remotely. It can be done simply by targeting you with the frequency, locking into the resonant frequency of your DNA and your mind, and in that manner completely track and trace and control you 24 hours a day. And so the dividing line is going to be between people on one side of this technology and people on the other. And so if you are a gang stalker right now, if you're in the private security industry, if you're in the military, intelligence, local state police, community watch groups, what have you, the reason so many people are joining into this, the reason so many people end up on that side of the fence is because it is the only game in town. There is one side, and you're either with us or you're against us. And so going forward, that's exactly what I had to think about when I decided to make this decision. That is exactly what went through my mind, and that's why it took me so long to decide what to do about this, because it is. You are marking yourself. You are standing up and saying, hey, everybody, look at me. I don't like you. I don't like your program, and I'm going to do everything I can to get it shut down. And I was fully aware the entire time that I was, thinking about doing that, exactly what was going to happen to me. They were going to torture me. They were going to destroy all my relationships with friends and family, and I was never going to be able to make a living again. And in my mind, it just came down to the victims. It came down to targeted individuals all over America who are suffering every single day, who are crying out for help, who are curled up in a ball in the corner in their bedroom in horrible physical pain and horrible emotional pain, and know that nobody will help them. Everybody calls them crazy. Everybody says, there's something wrong with them. Friends and family abandon them. Their relationships with their significant others are ruined. Their kids are taken away from them. And the homeless people in Seattle are now homeless. Some of the most brilliant men and women I've ever known in my life, as I got to know them, are now homeless, and they have no way to get out because the DESC is specifically making sure, going out of their way to make sure they can't get jobs and they can't find homes. So if a Gangstalker wants to think about coming forward, this is the decision that they face. Are you willing to risk everything to try to save this country, to try to save the individual out there who's on the receiving end of this program and is suffering and needs our help? And I'm hoping that by me coming forward and doing the best I can and for surviving as long as I can, I will inspire other insiders and give them the courage and the hope they need to make that decision as well, and see if we can't start making some progress against this thing. What is going on in America today is exactly what you just said. Some people are being recruited into this program, and some people are becoming the target of this matrix system of technological and signal intelligence and human intelligence control of the individual and of society. And that is exactly what goes on within not only the private security industry, but the program as a whole in Seattle, and what was done to me after I decided to come forward. The choice is very clear. You're either with us or you're against us. And all of the resources that they cut you off from when you're a TI, like I am now as a whistleblower, the jobs that you can't get, the coworkers that you can't make friends with, the relationships you can't have with people, all of that you cannot have is exactly what the Gangstalkers are being promised if they join. That's everything you can have and more. We're going to give you money. We're going to give you access to the finest women and the best drugs and the best connections and the best jobs and the best life that you can possibly imagine. You made it, and this is your ticket to the top, and you're going to come to the top with us. This is exactly what these people are being told. It is exactly why this seemingly inexplicable behavior by our fellow human beings, this is why it's happening, because they are being promised the sun, the moon, and the stars. They are being promised the opportunity to be a part of history, to be a part of the ruling class, to be a part of a system that is not defined by appearance of camo and military machine guns and the American flag and God bless America and all the stuff that you associate with power in America. These are people that look exactly like you and me. These are people that are wearing their hats backwards and baggy jeans. They're people that are dressed in modern attire. They're people that rock the modern vernacular and slang. These are people that go to the same bars and clubs that we do. These are the people that go to the same schools that we do. These are the people that watch the exact same videos on the internet that we do. They are like us in every single way. They are Americans first and foremost. And because the nature of this program is so covert, that cover must be maintained at all costs. And so this is why you see kind of this profile of the people that are targeting you. They do not fit one particular profile. If you're in corporate America right now, I guarantee you're going to get corporate Gangstalkers. And that is the whole point of it, that they have people in all levels of society, all ethnicities and socioeconomic backgrounds, and they can activate them one by one and group by group wherever you are in the country. And unfortunately, if you're on the wrong side of that, you have access to none of those resources, and you are looked at as an outcast and an outsider and someone that just can't be part of it.
Okay. There's a few questions that I have. These people that are doing this, gang stalking, they're doing it on the pretense of that we're criminals, correct?
Correct. Really quickly, yes, that is the premise that they use to assassinate your character amongst gang stalkers. Usually there's no actual crime that's been committed, so you're not in fact criminals, but yes, that is the lie that's told.
Well, no, I know I'm not a criminal, but that's how they get them to do what they're doing.
Correct, yes. Normally there is part of the character assassination campaign that's run. There are lies, there are rumors that are spread about the targeted individual. And so in relation to the TI, all sorts of stuff is said about them. In every case, it's never true. So I can testify as a gang stalker on that side of it that all of the gang stalkers know it's not true. But it is used to generally degrade the character of the TI so that they're looked at, in general as a scumbag. You're absolutely right.
Okay. All right. And is there a production team that is in charge of that?
Absolutely, yeah. There is a command and control structure that is in charge of normally a targeted individual. So any elements of the program that need to be run in relation to that TI will be coordinated by a supervisor. And the supervisor will work with people that are in control of the technology on one side and then the organized stalking or the street theater on the other side. So you do have a very stringent command and control structure. The one that I was a part of course, involved SIS and SIS exclusively. But I have heard from others in general knowledge of the program that's being run around. This could involve people in local and state police as well as what I would call intelligence operatives or assets. They are private corporations that do stuff like talent agencies, recognizing talent, logistics specialists, technology specialists, and then coordination specialists.
I just wanted to make one mention of something I see happening up here, and it has to do with the police stations here are now putting in mental wings for the mentally handicapped instead of private institutions or anything like that. I don't know if that's happening anywhere else, but that was very creepy to me. In the major police stations, they are putting in mental wings. So they will be in charge, more or less, is what I'm saying.
I hadn't heard that.
That's very scary. The question I wanted to ask is with the DNA, when you have somebody's DNA, you can then realize the tendencies they have towards certain diseases. With this knowledge, do you have any idea whether they're planning or already are, how do I want to say this, stirring up that particular tendency and creating that particular disease in that person?
Well, thank you. That was a great question, and thank you for the info concerning the mental wings and the police
scary.
station. Absolutely, because that is exactly the pretext that they use a lot of times to get the excuse to target individuals is, obviously coming up with a false psychological diagnosis. So thank you for that. The DNA.
That's where I live. That's where it's happening.
Okay, great. Thank you. As far as the DNA goes, in principle, in theory, what you're saying is absolutely correct. Frequencies can be used to manipulate someone's DNA and then help to bring about what is a otherwise natural tendency within their genetics. So I can confirm that that's true, and I can confirm that within the scientific research community, that's being done right now. There's DNA-based research that's being done normally to cure diseases, obviously, but if it can be done to cure diseases, then certainly someone with more nefarious goals in mind could use it to engineer diseases and to bring things about. So that is absolutely a major concern, and I think that's one of the reasons we have to get a hold on the entire research and development apparatus of this country, the entire program, the way things are done in secret, and scientific advancements are siphoned off for military and intelligence purposes first, and then everybody else gets them. And the problem with
so
that is exactly what you said.
Isn't being done yet?
Not that I know specifically, no. I cannot say that I have direct knowledge of that. What I can say, though, is that Amazon has billions and billions of dollars invested in a program that is used to study just those things. So if we wanted to find out who might have that knowledge, Amazon might be a good place to start.
And I think you indicated that they won't hurt us physically or vandalize or sabotage our property, but I've had all of the above. I've literally been systematically maimed through workers' comp medical procedures. My entire back, my spinal column, from my skull all the way down to my tailbone has been sabotaged. I was, in fact, at a third lumbar ESI procedure, I was brutally forced under anesthesia, screaming for the doctor to stop. And when I woke up, my entire back had been maimed. And muscles were pulled off my back. I had injections throughout my back, my neck, my shoulders, injections into my liver, into my esophagus, all the way, I mean, prolific damage. I'm now disabled. So is that part of the military government experimentation, or was I placed there, do you think, can corporations like insurance carriers or employers place their people into these programs?
Absolutely, yes. And Cece, I'm very sorry to hear about your condition and everything that happened to you. That is horrible, and I can't imagine the pain that you're in. And I do want to just clarify in terms of the hands-off policy, I am in no way suggesting that these people do not harm people physically. I'm speaking about obviously what is a general rule and a general outline that people follow. With specific people, they could very well cross lines and borders and do that sort of thing. In terms of the medical, this was done under surgery, so it could be that the doctors you were under the care of were very much not concerned at all with your well-being. It sounds like they really messed up the surgery, and when you woke up, you were worse off.
Intentional. This happened over a period of a year and a half, and it just kept getting worse. And I couldn't figure out why I kept getting worse until the last lumbar epidural, which was the third one. Even the physical therapist maimed me, but I had already filed a complaint at the California Physical Therapy Board, which was completely treated with disregard and disrespect. So I know that the state of California is involved in my stalking and the crimes that have befallen me. But I'm also hit with directed energy weapons. I get the dream manipulation, the dream interrogation. By the way, the dream interrogation has been a lot about my medical history. Have I ever hurt my back before? How I was hurt at work. So that's why either they want me to believe that my employer and the defense in my workers' comp claim is behind this, or I don't know what, because it sure seems like that's what they want me to believe. So I'm going with it, although I am a whistleblower, and I blew the whistle on a previous employer a few years ago as well, and he told me that he had friends in high places that could make my life very difficult. And shortly thereafter, bizarre things started happening at my home, and at other places of employment. And that was before I ever got injured at work. But I don't know. I often say, God, I hope you don't let me die before I know who has done this, who is behind all of this garbage. So anyway, I believe that my targeting is corporate driven. And we
that
know
makes sense, yes.
And we know that the United States is a corporatocracy, so, it makes sense. And you say that Amazon, what do? They offer up some of their employees as part of the protocol or the programs?
Absolutely, yeah. They actually have they have dedicated entire buildings for the purposes of experimenting on their own employees and SIS employees. But absolutely what you were saying in terms of California officials and them being involved, those are exactly the people that would be in the program in place to mess with a targeted individual like yourself. So that definitely makes sense. You want my supervisor's name and guilty parties? Is that what you said?
Yeah, your supervisor.
Yeah, there are, most of these names are actually available, but I will go ahead and name some of the people in SIS. Zimmerman, Brenninger, Venturini, CEO is John Spisak.
In what capacity are they?
S-P-E-S-A-K. S-P-E-S-A-K, John Spisak. And the command and control structure is such. There is a Dennis P. Hatton that is watch commander that I worked under. The command and control structure is such that the supervisor, direct supervisor, is contingent upon your assignment. And this is one of the ways that I think is an interesting point with how they kind of compartmentalize the programs within SIS and companies like this so that other people don't find out about it. There is not a company-wide command and control structure. There is a assignment-specific command and control structure so that when you are assigned to a specific assignment, you have an immediate supervisor that you report to, and that's it. And so the one supervisor, for example, might only be overseeing 2, 3, 4, 5 security specialists at a time. And so you have all these little cells within the company that are completely cut off from each other so that the lines of communication and information do not flow between different aspects of the company so that they can compartmentalize and keep classification on certain information that they don't want getting out. So I worked for many different people. I was assigned to many different assignments. But that was a very good question because it shows how it is organized.
You were talking about how they tried to make everybody into being a scumbag, so to speak, and but most of the people I've spoken with are women, you know, and there's like, you know, women that are beautiful and attractive. There's women that could be your grandmother, and you say they try to make everybody, you know, come up with some stories or whatever. How do they hurt like women and grandmothers and kill people's pets?
Isn't that horrible? Yeah. Well, first, thank you for your kind words. And I do want to say that I have heard estimates up to 70-75% of targeted individuals are, in fact, women. And it absolutely breaks my heart because I can't understand the mentality of men or women as well that would actually prey on and torture and abuse a woman, a single woman. It's just horrible. These people have children, and you're absolutely right. I mean, they're tearing families apart. They're doing it to children as well. It's completely out of control. But in terms of smear campaigns, character assassination, what they have is thugs. And perhaps, you know, there are elements of this that even I'm not aware of. But I am aware, for example, that my life has been threatened. I am aware that people are killed within this program all the time. And they bring in highly trained specialists to do that. They usually have intelligence connections. So in terms of the real dirty work that's done, there are people within the program that are capable of doing that, and they do it because they get paid a lot of money, and they do it because they've been guaranteed by the higher-ups in the program that they're going to get away from it. What I can speak to is the involvement of defense contractors in general. I have heard, of course, through people like Karen Stewart that Lockheed Martin does employ organized stalkers of their own in 47 of the 50 states. I have not been able to independently verify that with my sources, but it certainly makes sense. What I do know for a fact is, of course, defense contractors are involved in the research and development of the technology going back decades. And if anybody wants to learn more, I would suggest looking up patents into things like microwave auditory effect, the voice-to-skull, the behavior modification, frequency weapons, directed energy weapons. Go back to the work of Nikola Tesla and look on down the line throughout history to see who the scientists were that were working on this, and then see the connections that they had to certain aspects of the military-industrial complex of our country. So defense contractors are involved. I am sorry, though, I don't have direct knowledge of Lockheed Martin.
Are you aware of any antenna arrays that are doing the broadcasting?
This is interesting. I'm glad you brought it up. It is one of the most classified aspects of the technology in terms of my knowledge of it and the average security specialist knowledge of it. You have things broken down basically into a technical department and what I would call a personnel department. Personnel handles the actual monitoring of the technology and the gang stalking. You then have the technical side that monitors the infrastructure, the actual building of devices, antennas, cell phones, towers. So I do not have direct knowledge of that. But I do know that it does utilize antennas, radar, and cell phone towers. And I think radar, I know for a fact, is being used for military bases. I know some of the antennas are being camouflaged within buildings, other structures. They have entire walls and structures built around them just to hide the existence of the antenna. So you can see the effort that goes into covering up the locations of them.